今回ですね、
I'm going to talk a little bit about Street Fighter 4 and tell you what exactly it is. You may or may not be familiar with the series. I would guess that most of your audience has indeed played Street Fighter 2 at the very least. Provided that's the case, I can tell you that Street Fighter 4 finds itself in very similar territory as Street Fighter 2 as far as the general look and feel of the game. If you've played Street Fighter 2 and you remember how to control it, you will have no trouble jumping into this. Thanks to all of you guys and your wonderful feedback and your support. We have indeed gone gold on the arcade version. It is now officially finished. Rufus. That's a hard character to pin down. I'm not sure exactly where to start in talking about Rufus. As you can tell by looking at him, he's just a really big fat guy. In his character art, he's depicted as carrying a giant bucket of popcorn around with him as he goes around. So on the surface, he looks like a guy who doesn't hold a candle to anyone else in the ring. It looks like he's going to just lose instantly. He couldn't possibly fight people. But once you actually take the controls and begin playing as him, you'll notice he's actually extremely fast, and he's not half bad as a fighter. So visually he's interesting because the way he looks and the way he moves are quite different. So there's that disconnect there, that sort of irony that makes him an interesting character. Also, personality-wise, he's convinced that he's just the greatest, most handsome, awesome guy in the world, and he's just taken it upon himself to decide on his own accord that Ken Masters, Ryu's friend, the guy in the red karate outfit and the blonde hair, Rufus has decided that Ken is his rival and that he's going to kick Ken's butt. So he's kind of a weird guy, Rufus. We'll give you a little bit of information on Seth, the new final boss of this game. As you can see from pictures of him, he's no ordinary human being. He's got some kind of machinery in his stomach there. He's got some kind of a strange expression on his face. But to say he's no ordinary human is kind of meaningless in the world of Street Fighter, where you have all sorts of really weird characters like Blanca and Dhalsim who aren't necessarily quote-unquote ordinary humans anyway. But there's clearly something unique and special about Seth. There's your first hint or tidbit of information. Another thing I can tell you about Seth is that we all know that Bison was apparently defeated at the end of Street Fighter 2 and Shadaloo was presumably destroyed, but yet we see now that Bison's back for Street Fighter 4. There's talk of Shadaloo returning to some degree. So why are they back? What's going on here exactly? I can tell you that Seth holds the key to that information, and when you find out what Seth's about, you'll know a lot more about the story.
Will Seth be playable?
どうでしょう
who knows? There may indeed be some hidden surprises left, perhaps some characters that might be of particular interest to Americans, and that's all I can tell you for now. Stay tuned. Unfortunately, the arcade version of the game does not contain bonus stages, as fun as they are. There's good reasons for that, chiefly among them capitalism. What happens is arcade owners in Japan, they make all their money by turnover. They want as many people to play a game as possible. Anytime you're giving a player 30 seconds to do something without a chance to lose, you're losing potential income. So what happened with Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, we had bonus stages in that, but arcade operators begged us to have a dip switch so you could turn the bonus stages on and off, and they all turned them off. So we decided to not include them in 4 at all for the arcade. It's the unfortunate reality of the arcade business. It's a tough and competitive cutthroat industry. I'm not pulling your leg when I tell you, and I'm completely honest here, that we've really just begun porting the game from the arcade to home systems. The arcade version just got finished, and we're now rolling up our sleeves and getting serious about the ports. So we don't know a whole lot about what features will be included in each specific version. I can tell you there's certainly both going to have some online functionality. You're going to be able to play against other people. That's certainly the main idea of what Street Fighter is about, is fighting against other players and other characters. We will determine more and more about what will happen with the home versions in the coming months, so please ask again at another time. So basically what happened with the game is, after having it shown at AOU and at GDC and at many location tests and getting feedback from players and from the press, we discovered a lot of people, while they were enjoying the game, they felt that there was something slightly off about the controls, that things didn't quite feel right when they were punching characters, or that certain moves didn't seem to go off with the same feeling that they remember them going off with back in Street Fighter 2. So the more we looked at it, the more we realized it might be because we were using proper 3D collision detection, which means that all the polygon models are covered with a boundary box, and that the end of a character's fist really is the end of their fist and has to hit the end of the other guy's face to hurt him. Whereas the older Street Fighter games, the boxes were in specific places that made the game fun to play, but wasn't necessarily exactly to the edge of a fist. It may have started actually further into the arm, etc., on a totally case-by-case basis. So really what we discovered is what we would need to do to make Street Fighter 4 feel more like Street Fighter 2 would be to take the boundary boxes off and put standard 2D hit boxes on everybody. And we only had a month or two to do that, and the staff really performed very well, and we managed to do it. And the game, I think, feels a lot more like Street Fighter 2 now, which is important because we really want people to kind of go back to basics and make this the standard for fighting game controls. And we were afraid that if it didn't feel 100% right, it didn't matter how many other cool things we put in the game because the controls would be weird. So we definitely fixed that, and we're feeling very confident about the way it feels now. We're definitely going to put tutorial-type features in the home versions. What you probably won't see is, an ability to turn on and off the hitboxes to actually look at them. We don't, once again, want this game to be too technical and too focused on really hardcore players. There will be tutorial-like features, but they'll be unique and unlike other tutorials you've seen in other games. They'll be focused on helping the user to understand how to use the game as a sort of fighting tool and better their own skill set. My last question is, do you think Itagaki is going to like Street Fighter 4? Well, I've never met Mr. Itagaki. I would be flattered if he enjoyed Street Fighter 4. I'm certainly not going to try and pick a fight or anything here. I really don't even know the guy.